Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John coming to you from All Saints Orthodox Church in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. Today we're talking about step number 16 on the ladder of divine ascent, and that is on love of money. That's what the chapter is about. The chapter's not very long, actually. If you think about it, St. John's writing to monks living in caves. How much do they have to do with money? And why would he even need to write something about money? Well, it's interesting because I had those same questions in my mind, and here's what I found. St. John talks about monks. One of the temptations is for monks to say, oh, we've got to do this and that and raise all of this money for the poor. And he says, they're very excited about raising money until the money is in hand, and then all of a sudden they find themselves having trouble letting go of it. It's a trick, right? So he says, don't tell me how much money you've got to raise for the poor and all these things you've got to do while you're in the desert. He says, don't do that, because what's going to happen is you're going to get the money and then you're not going to let go. You're going to start to hold on to it tightly. It's going to be an anchor around your neck. It's going to be a bad thing for you. And one of the insights that he had, and I just thought this was very interesting, so I'm going to share it with you. He says, a hospitable man and a money lover met one another. The money lover called the hospitable man undiscerning. Think about that for a minute. It's like Judas. Judas, who complained that the oil that was the spikenard that was used to anoint Jesus, that it wasn't sold instead, and that money was taken and given to the poor. And Jesus, remember, he says, the poor you have always with you. You don't always have me. What she's done in preparation for my burial. Judas, we know, had the money box. He wanted the money, even though in pretense it was going to be going to the poor. Of course, that wasn't true. And so when the hospitable man uses his money and he welcomes this money lover into his home, and he's purchased things to share with this money lover, the money lover looks at him and in his heart he judges him as undiscerning, when in fact the hospitable man was just trying to be hospitable, was trying to fulfill the commandment of God, entertaining angels unawares. So St. John talks about, even in the desert, there is this temptation for avarice, for the love of money. And he commands these monks to flee from every possibility of it, not to be ensnared by it, and that they're not exempt from it just because they live in the desert. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.